Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa Siegel and I'm a professor of migration studies, and this is a channel about all things migration. So we're going to continue today with our country case study series looking at India. And I will continue now with looking specifically at Indian migration policy and governance. But of course, if you're interested in learning more about the history of migration in India and the current situation of migration today, please do check out my videos on that. I'll also link them in the description below. So now let's jump right in and start talking about the situation in India. And let's start with talking about some key institutions in India that govern migration. So for immigration or people entering the country, the Bureau of Immigration in the Ministry of Home Affairs is the most important institution. While for emigration or people leaving the country and Diaspora, which also plays a very important role in India, it is the Ministry of External Affairs. Now, if you're interested to learn more about the term actually Diaspora and where that comes from, feel free to check out my other video on that. I'll also link it down in the description below. Now, the main legislation that India has regulating migration and protecting Indian migrant welfare is the Emigration Act of 1983 and its successive amendments, as well as the Foreigners Act of 1946 and the Passport Act of 1967. And we'll come to some other legal arrangements also later. Also looking at migration governance, the PBSK is also very important, and it was meant to act as a single window to facilitate and provide support services to workers who intend to go abroad for employment. So this is really having to do with emigration in India. And India, like the Philippines and like some other countries, is one of these countries that is very well known for emigration and specifically for exporting labor to other countries around the world. In this case, also particularly Gulf cooperation countries, particularly for low-skilled Indian immigrants. So the government has tried more and more over the years to make sure that they have facilities and policies in place to help those migrants when they're going abroad and give them access to services and other information. So in 2015, they also launched eMigrate, which is an electronic platform that was initiated by the Ministry of External Affairs to regulate overseas employment. And it's a platform used by recruitment agents, immigrants themselves, foreign employers, missions, and POEs. So it's really a kind of one-stop shop for people to be able to use in a nice electronic format for immigration purposes. So the Immigration Act of 1983 has been the act that's been very important and has been used to regulate immigration matters and welfare for immigrants for a long time. But because of shortcomings in the Immigration Act, in 2019, the Indian government introduced a draft immigration bill to Indian Parliament. And the idea is that then this bill will be used instead of the 1983 Act. This bill gives scope that includes students and immigrant workers, but at the time, at least in 2019, it excluded undocumented as well as family migrants. And currently, India has no national internally displaced persons policy. There are a number of key international conventions and protocols, though, that India is a party to, and that is the Inspection of Immigrant Convention, the Unemployment Convention, the Forced Labor Convention, the Discrimination Convention, and the more current Global Compact on Refugees and Global Compact on Migrants. However, India is not a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention or the 1967 protocols that came after that. So that means that of course, refugee situation is kind of has a little bit more of a precarious situation in India. There are a number of memorandums of understandings and specific bilateral labor agreements that India has signed with other countries. As I said before, it is a country that is quite well known for the explicit export of labor, and some of the countries that it has agreements with are Jordon, Bahrain, Malaysia, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And of course, these agreements have also been signed in different years, and some of them have been longer standing relationships than others. Now, India does have quite a large diaspora all around the world, particularly in North America. And if you're interested more to learn about the term diaspora, where that comes from and what it really means, please do check out my video on that. Again, I will link it in the description below. But India has had a change over the years in how it approaches diaspora. Nowadays, it is very much courting of the diaspora and has quite a lot of important policies and programs to engage their diaspora abroad. Some of the more well-known programs that they have are the Know India program or the KIP program, and this program familiarizes Indian diaspora youth between the ages of 18 and 30 with their Indian origins in India. Kind of similar and tied to that, they also have the scholarship program for diaspora children, which are specifically scholarships for the children of Indian diaspora abroad to study at Indian universities and institutes. There's also the PBK located in New Delhi, and it's a tribute to the Indian community abroad. It recalls and shows respect for migration of overseas Indians, their contributions, achievements, and the challenges they encountered. And there are a number of other initiatives that the government has. They generally have a yearly celebration of the diaspora and also give out kind of diaspora awards. There are a number of different initiatives also with regard to, for instance, the specific cards that overseas Indians or persons of Indian origin can also own that give them more rights also in the country. And India is one of the leaders, I would say, in diaspora engagement, and other countries like Ethiopia and others have looked to them also when trying to create their diaspora engagement policies, as India has done quite a good job of this, not only really engaging their diaspora and honoring them, but also giving them many rights and benefits also, and helping to protect them abroad, particularly lower skilled workers in the Gulf cooperation countries, for instance. There are also a number of international organizations working on migration issues also in India. The International Organization for Migration, UNHCR, and the International Labour Organization are just a few that can be named here. India became a member state of the IOM, or International Organization for Migration, in 2008. There are a number of projects that they run also with India. Things like the prevention and assistance to survivors of trafficking, or technical cooperation with the Ministry of Women and Child Development on the prevention and assistance of survivors of trafficking. Things like helping to enhance and manage labor mobility between Asia and the EU, and information campaigns also on risks of irregular migration to Europe. UNHCR helps to support the Indian government in its effort to provide protection and assistance to refugees, supporting refugees, asylum seekers, as well as host communities where they're living, particularly since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, the ILO, as the name shows, the International Labour Organization, also does a lot of work with regard to fair recruitment and helping with the protection of migrant workers and other things too. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list at all, but just giving you a little bit of an idea of what some of the international organizations in India are doing today. So I hope that just gave you a quick overview of the migration policy and migration governance situation in India today. Again, that was just a very quick snapshot. If you're interested to learn more, I'm linking all of the references and sources that were used in this video in the description below, like I do in all of my videos. So if you want to dig in and learn a bit more about different aspects, please feel free to do that. Again, check out my other videos on India if you're interested. And if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos that I upload every week on different migration issues. Also, feel free to comment down below, ask questions on the migration situation. Tell us if you yourself are an Indian migrant, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.